My name's Niran.
My name is Pepper, and welcome to the AOR Talkshow.
Here we go.
So, hello everybody, and welcome to the 11th talk show. 11th episode, Jesus Christ. But anyway, we're now here. I'm here with Niran, and we're going to review the Spanish Grand Prix that happened last Sunday, also previewing the Monaco Grand Prix, the jewel of the calendar that will happen next Sunday, back with James live streaming. Thank God for that. But
Let's hope so.
no, I'm pretty sure he's back by then. But nevertheless, it was an interesting race in Spain, to say the least. Again, there's no live stream for you to see, but obviously I'll leave the links to the channels that do record and upload the race's highlights. So therefore, Pepper, Shane, Dan, Mazes wasn't there, but Philip also uploads now, so you can go check all those videos out. But starting with the qualifying, Niran, and well, we both got it wrong, but
not by much.
No.
I mean, it was. We say close qualifying's a lot. It's probably a term that's overused, but I mean, in this instance, I think this was one of the closest qualifyings we've had all season, maybe apart from the Nürburgring, I think. We have had one race which was closer, but this was on another level. I don't think we've had a closer finish between first and second. Vettel, F1 ARG Vettel, or Vettel as he's known, for Caterham, did actually take pole by just 6,000ths of a second from Shane in the Williams. Now, I think I predicted Shane to get pole. I think you did as well, yes. Pepper. I can't quite remember. So, yeah. I mean, we were, I think, probably as close as you can possibly be to getting pole right. 6,000ths of a second. We were about, 3 centimetres out on track away from actually getting another point in terms of our prediction. But Vettel managed to upset the odds and take pole in the Caterham. Second for Shane. Then it was Dan in the Red Bull, Pepper in the Ferrari, Callum in the other Williams, and then Jamie in the second of the Caterhams. And all 6 of those were covered by just 2.5 tenths of a second. So the top 6 with incredibly similar pace going into the race, which of course always usually means that we're going to shape up for a good race because we've got so many drivers in such close proximity when it comes to actual pace.
Indeed, and we had obviously Lee coming back now in the full seat of the Sauber due to the retirement of Hammertime, and Rajams jumping in for Prost place as well. So we have a brand new team, a new brand lineup even at Sauber. But also it's important to say we did have a previous qualifying. There was some incidents on the qualifying. The first attempt we did at qualifying because there was a few disconnections and we had to restart. So on that qualifying, actually, the other Caterham was on pole. So he actually managed to get pole position on the other qualifying session, but unfortunately that didn't count, so he had to start 6th, and Callum got 5th on the prime tyres. So we're already set up for a good race. Especially looking at how close the field was, and there was no rain in sight, which was also good because it wouldn't affect anyone. But turn 1 had an interesting sequence of events with Dan and Pepper getting a reasonable start. Dan had a great start actually. Managing to jump Vettel and Shane, but obviously got boxed in because of his great position. And then going to turn 1, a slight lag bubble between Pepper and Dan forced the Red Bull driver to drift around turn 1, let's say. And
it was a spectacular drift, in fairness.
Yeah, style points for Dan.
10 out of 10 style points. I mean, A for effort.
But that led to Callum getting inside for turn 2 and getting away with it, and obviously Dan still recovering from that drift from turn 1, losing the rear again, touching his teammate, and
all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it's just
it was a bit of a madness, really. So, yeah, as you said, Dan loses the back end, makes a bit of contact with his teammate Professional, who'd had a pretty decent start and an okay qualifying, actually, as well, to be up in that position after the first corner, where Pepper had lost a few positions because of that lag tap with Dan. So, Dan goes off with the contact from his teammate, breaks some of his front wing, and then after that, it's just, I mean, how you even describe this is beyond me, but I'm going to give it a go. So Professional, having made contact with his teammate going very slowly, gets hit from the back by the Ferrari of Pepper, who has absolutely nowhere to go. That then hits Professional into Jamie, who'd already been robbed of pole by this point. I think it was Jamie in the Caterham. Yeah. So those two go spinning off at the start of turn 3. And then, as a Sauber around the outside, the new boy, Red Jams, is trying to avoid the incident. He loses the back end, swipes into Pepper and Jordan, and we end up with just absolute carnage. Dan and his teammate Professional off in both the Red Bulls, and Jamie in the Caterham. And then in a second incident, Red Jams in the Sauber, Pepper in the Ferrari, and Jordan in the Lotus, all in the gravel/grass at turn 3.
Yeah, we went from F1 to GP2 basically on that corner.
Real quick, yeah. GP edging on GP3. Realistically, it was absolute carnage. But props to everyone who managed to make it through. I think Philip and Lee managing to get through relatively unscathed. I think, or did Lee go off as well?
Oh no, Lee was on the gravel.
Lee was in the so both the Saubers win. I mean, it was just a disaster. Realistically, both the Williams as though making it through. And Philip making it through as well in the Mercedes. It was, I mean, his POV must have been absolutely fantastic to witness, with just cars left and right going off in front of him. But yes, the first lap was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, indeed, and obviously that forced from fourth down, from fifth down even. It was just a game of catch up because obviously the first four already had a big gap because simply just, I mean, it was like cars planted all over turn 3 basically.
It was incredible. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. So many cars in the gravel and grass. I've just, oh man, brilliant scenes. Unless you were involved.
The farmers would be proud of that if there was actually definitely farmers of cars.
But, yeah, I mean, they would be having a field day if there was. But it's just incredible.
But obviously at the front, Shane led Vettel and Callum. Obviously Callum with the prime tire. So we had kind of two different strategies already at the start with Vettel and Shane on the options, and Callum on the slower, or so we thought, primes. But the primes seemed to have to deal a lot better with the conditions than the options. But it was going to be an exciting race, I would say, because at the back, obviously, Pepper and Jamie already started their fight that lasted for the whole race, and then managed to catch up with them as well. But at the front it was looking interesting. Vettel was the first to hit at lap 4, I do believe. Then Shane lap 5, losing the position to Vettel, but managed to regain it. Callum on the primes then pitted lap 7, I do believe, so he came out behind the two, managed to overtake Vettel. For some reason that we do not have footage yet, because I haven't seen Vettel's POV at least for now, but there was an interesting moment where Pepper and Jamie were going through turn 3 and Vettel was facing the wrong way. And yeah, obviously Pepper and Jamie went through Vettel, who was facing the wrong way, and then a few seconds later Vettel disconnects. Obviously we don't know if it was a rage quit or an honest disconnection, or we don't even know what happened to put Vettel in that position. But that led to having the two Williams with a massive gap.
Huge gap.
And then, guess what happens?
You're gonna have to tell me.
Callum disconnects.
Oh no! What a shambles. I knew that realistically, but I mean, it was heartbreaking because yeah, we had Vettel disconnect a lap later. Callum disconnects as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a shame. Broke apart the top 3.
And it just leaves Shane with a 13 seconds gap to Pepper and Jamie. But then we have more controversy, as on lap 14, Pepper and Jamie pit for got the third stint, and our new rookie, Red Jams, loses the car and crashes into the pit wall. So that brings up the safety car.
He was having a decent race as well, wasn't he, in the Sauber?
Yeah, he was in 5th or 6th.
Yeah, he was doing all right, and then the TRL Limitless Special into the pit wall, but I mean it was good for the race in the end, because obviously we had Dan, Pepper, and Jamie, who were the closest to Shane, but obviously a long way behind now that Callum and Vettel had disconnected by this point. They were, of course, Shane's closest challengers. But a safety car obviously means, especially given Pepper and Jamie had pitted on that lap as the safety car was coming out, just by pure luck, that we had a big close-in gap between the runaway leader at the time, Shane, and the people coming back on the recovery charge, which was, of course, Pepper, Dan, and Jamie.
Yeah, and it was. I think it weren't happy times for Shane because
he must have been absolutely distraught when he saw that. Had such a dominant lead, and then that happens.
Because just before the race, Shane was saying he wasn't comfortable on the prime stint, and I mean, comparing times, I do believe Pepper was one of the fastest on the last sector, which obviously leads to the main straight of the track at the RS zone, and I mean, it was a lot of pressure on Shane because obviously Callum had disconnected, so Shane had to gain points. He was already going to gain points, but he really had a golden chance. But to have 3 equally fast cars behind him on a stint he doesn't feel comfortable with, I mean, you can just imagine what's going on the head of someone on that position. It must have been stressful.
The absolute terror I would have felt, because at the end of the day, we discussed this in the last talk show, because of the way the season's been going recently. Shane had to win this race, and especially with Callum gifting him that opportunity, obviously not through his own doing, but with the disconnection, this was literally probably the best chance Shane was going to get in the next 3 rounds to really, really close the gap. And then suddenly a safety car comes out, and as you say, 3 as equally as quick drivers, all race winners in the past, not necessarily this season. I'm looking at you, Dan. Anyway, but no, I'm joking. And then suddenly he's got 3 extremely talented drivers behind him, and it must have just been horrendous for him to think about. But he seemed to cope with things very well, especially from the restart.
Yeah, I mean, Shane had a pretty good restart, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't really fool the guys behind him, and unfortunately there was nothing really happening as the gap stayed the same. Obviously the track doesn't quite help for overtaking, so it all maintained quite the same until the final pit stop, and after getting his massive gap cut away, Shane has a great moment of luck on the pits, despite getting held up by thin air, as he said on the post-race thing. But he still managed to come out ahead of Pepper and Jamie, and guess who gets in the middle? Philip.
Of all the people.
Obviously he got maybe lucky on lap 1 to get up to 4th after all the carnage going on, and now he gets right in between the leader and the 2nd place, and then Pepper does a mistake coming out of the pit at turn 2, losing the car, downshifting when it should be upshifting, which gives Jamie the 2nd place. Philip later on the lap just makes 2 mistakes which help Jamie and Pepper go through. Obviously they kind of hold up each other a bit, and then starts to close in. Then Jamie does a mistake on lap 27, coming out of turn 5, losing the rear, giving Pepper P2 again, and Dan P3. And from then on, Shane was just maintaining his gap. Obviously got a 4-second, 5-second gap to Pepper, Dan and Jamie, and Pepper managed to get a reasonable gap to Dan and Jamie, and Jamie and Dan was just each straight there was an overtake. pretty much. It was pretty much like this until the end of the race, which eventually helped Dan get third place, beating Jamie, who misses the podium for the first time in his AOR career. He misses the win for the first time as well.
Career.
But
in his career so far, not a bad record, eh?
No, not bad at all. But yeah, and behind obviously Professional in fifth, doing a good recovery in my opinion. After all the incidents at lap one, Professional was quite further behind. So
yeah,
obviously the other Sauber Lee finishing sixth, and Philip was who?
What? Sorry.
Who?
Professional had good pace.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. I mean, if we see the fastest laps of each driver, the gap. I mean, obviously, sorry, Philip, but if we exclude Philip, like if we see the fastest laps of the top six at the end of the race, the gap between the fastest to the slowest is less than 4/10.
Yeah.
So there's only two guys under 19s as well.
Yeah, I suppose it maybe goes back to what we were saying last talk show, where everyone knows this track so well. They've all got pretty decent pace around here, and it was quite close. Maybe that's why the qualifying was so close. But yeah, as you say, we've gone through the results. It's that one moment in the pit stops definitely changing it between. It obviously wasn't Philip's fault; he just happened to be there, but that really allowed Shane to get away, and otherwise he probably would have had a bit of a challenge. But as you said, the main racing coming between Dan and Jamie for third place. That was really good, really good to watch.
Which obviously gives Niran a point. Finally.
Yes. Is that my first point?
No, I don't know.
It's my second.
Like
I think it's my second. I think. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'll take that because I thought I only had one before today, and I think I got one in Brazil because I think I got pole right then. But yeah. Managing to predict the winner I think probably for the first time this season, so thanks for that, Shane. I don't know what the score is between both of us, but
it will be on the screen. Obviously the results of Spain leave us with Callum still leading the championship with 1 point. However, only 5 points now ahead of his teammate Shane in second place with 126. Now there's like a big desert between second and third at the moment.
Yeah.
46 points gap between Dan and Callum, so 41 between second and third. Dan getting his second podium in a row, actually, getting now the third place after the disaster that was Abu Dhabi. So his fifth podium of the season. Pepper jumping Mazes because obviously Mazes couldn't do it at Spain. Hopefully he'll be back for Monaco, but that puts Pepper now up to fourth, 6 points behind Dan. Mazda is 9 points behind Pepper. Jamie gets a few more points again. Now it's only 8 points separating Mazda from Jamie. Professional a little further down on 57. Vettel on 51. Brown obviously missing Spain. He's on 38. Philip jumps up to 10th with 22 points. Ahead of Jordan with 21, Sebalista with 20, who missed the race. Lee obviously getting his second race now as a main driver for Sauber with 12 points, and Rajams in last with 4 despite crashing into the pits. Niran, take us through the constructors.
Yeah, so that pretty close midfield means that we've got a kind of close midfield really as well in the Constructors' Championship, but again, the big gap is from first to second in the Constructors' Championship as well. Williams 108 points now clear of Ferrari after that win for Shane. It would have been even more dominant, let's be honest, if Callum hadn't have disconnected as well, but at least that's made it quite close now, well, even closer at the top of the driver standings than it was before. But Ferrari there second on 149, as I said, 108 points behind Williams, who are on 257. But there's now only 7 points between Ferrari and Red Bull in second and third. Red Bull on 142, and then it's Caterham in fourth as well. They've been quite unlucky as well, because Vettel, obviously with that disconnection / quit, I'm not entirely sure, in Spain. The way Jamie's been driving recently, they probably arguably could have closed the gap on Red Bull and Ferrari this weekend at Spain, but that disconnection for Vettel obviously meant that was not the case. But they're still only 19 points behind Red Bull. That could change very, very quickly. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Sauber in 5th. Obviously, they maintained the points that Prost and Hammer Time scored for them in the first half of the season, but now that both of those have retired from the league, it's of course Red Jams and also Lee who score the points for them. They're on 89 in 5th, and it's Mercedes in 6th on 60, and then Lotus bringing up the rear in 7th on 41.
Yeah, Lotus is still struggling, but it will be interesting to see, because generally in my perspective, I think the fight for the title of constructors is kind of decided.
Yeah.
So what we have here is a fight for 2nd between Ferrari, Red Bull, and Caterham, and a fight for 5th between Sauber, Mercedes, and Lotus. Personally, I see it that way, because the gaps kind of suggest it to go like that, but everything can change. I mean, we still have 6 races to go, 7 even, so a lot can change. But that was what Catalunya brought us to this season. Now, next up is I don't even know. How can you describe the Monaco race?
It's always described as the jewel of the F1 calendar, but it is. I mean, it's on another level to any other challenge that these drivers will face. Obviously, I mean, you guys will all know about Monaco. Realistically, it's the first track that you find out about when you first fall in love with Formula One. So the close barriers, the scenery around, the glitz and glamour, and all that sort of stuff. But just first and foremost, it is a difficult track. So there's going to be I'm sure there'll be a lot of action. I'm sure, regrettably, there'll be a lot of incidents purely because of how difficult the track is. But it's a race that you never want to miss in any league or in real life or whatever discipline it is.
Yeah, and luckily we'll have James live streaming that race for us, thankfully.
Yeah, thank God for that.
It's a good way to come back.
Yeah, not a bad way, is it? It comes back and then Monaco turns up. Yeah, not a bad return at all.
But yeah, as Niran says, just one of those tracks. Like, it doesn't even matter if you're slow at it. You just want to race there because it's something out of the ordinary, it's special. But yeah, we'll take you now through a lap of the Monaco street circuit.
DRS anchors available on the rundown towards turn 1. Bumpy, under braking, and in the shadows of the buildings. Watch the exit curb as well and the barrier as you run up the hill now towards turn 3. Clip the left and then the right, and now down through the gears, hugging the inside there. Don't let the car understeer too much, because on the right-hander you want to open it up. On the run down the hill now, very easy to lock the inside right as it hangs in the air around turn 5. Down towards the hairpin, first gear. Hug the inside corner as much as you can and then straighten up before turning right and using that curb that's available on the right-hand side there. Now the next right-hander that comes up before the tunnel, let your eyes readjust, hold it flat out through the tunnel now, clipping the apex and letting the car run out wide. The burst of light comes at you as you brake at the 100-meter ball, flick the car left and then right through the chicane, and now you run the car to the right-hand side as close to the barriers as you can before flicking the car left and using all of the available circuit at the swimming pool section, left and then right again, brake in a straight line, get as close to the barrier on the right and use that curve on the exit on the left as well. Now into the infamous Rascasse corner, the double apex right-hander. Very important to keep the car nice and straight on the exit there before this final corner. Don't use too much of the exit curb, and that's a very busy lap of Monaco.
So you just saw a hot lap around Monaco. Now a bit of a more detailed track analysis from me and Niran. Obviously, I mean, it's a very difficult corner with very sharp corners as well. Obviously, the first corner is already a challenge because it's very bumpy and the braking, and it has a barrier just waiting there smiling at you every time you go around, waiting you for to crash it. But yeah, after you go through turn 1, obviously going up to Massenet and Casino, then going down again to Mirabeau, the Lowe's hairpin, Portier, tunnel, Nouvelle Chicane to back, swimming pool section, Raskas, and then the last corner, which is very tricky because it's very easy to turn early for it, and you can demolish a lot of your car there. But overall, challenging. The most challenging sector of the lap would probably be the middle one.
Yeah, I would. Literally because it has tobacco in it. I mean, that is probably it's probably one of the hardest corners on that. You've got to be so committed through tobacco. The braking zone as well for the Nouvelle Chicane just beforehand as well, coming out of the tunnel, the only tunnel of course in F1. And the Nouvelle Chicane, it's very bumpy, it's very easy to outbrake yourself, and it's also quite easy to clip the wall on the inside and spin yourself around, like you said for Anthony Noakes, the last corner. It's such a sharp barrier in a weird way. It sounds really strange to say, but the barrier is at such a weird angle that it's really, really easy to either hit the front of your car there or to clip the barrier with the back of the car and spin yourself around. But I would definitely agree, yeah, the middle sector is 100% the most difficult, which says a lot because the rest of the lap's pretty difficult as well.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, when obviously at the other tracks, we can easily spot like at least one overtaking spot on the track.
Yeah.
Here it's a bit more difficult because we do have a DRS zone. Doesn't really do anything.
To be honest, I mean, you say we have a DRS zone. There's literally no point in having that DRS zone. It provides no real opportunity to make a move, literally unless the person in front of you makes a mistake at the last corner. And that probably is the theme of the entire track. I mean, there will be mistakes, so there will be, I'm sure, the odd opportunity to overtake. But realistically, you've either got to have a massive pace advantage or rely on the person in front of you making a small error to make a move. The Lowe's hairpin, or the Grand Hotel hairpin as it's known now, but the Lowe's hairpin as it'll always be known, I'm sure, is probably weirdly the main place to overtake. Adrian Sutil made it look very easy back in the sort of 2013-2014 days, I think it was, and a lot of people saw that and thought, oh, there's actually a place to actually overtake on this track now. So I'm sure quite a few people might try it into the Lowe's hairpin. Whether or not it'll work, I'm not entirely sure, because if it goes wrong, it goes very wrong when you try overtaking there. But apart from that, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, if you're feeling really, really gutsy, then maybe the Nouvelle Chicane or Mirabeau, but that's suicidal tendencies realistically there. The main place is the Lowe's hairpin, and you won't get too many overtakes there.
I mean, you really need to get a great exit of Portier, and obviously it's a long way flat out through the tunnel, but it kind of narrow. It kind of becomes narrower as you go on. And as you said, how sharp the barrier is for the first left of the Nouvelle Chicane, it requires a lot of courage from the driver and a lot of trust on the other driver as well, because you just can't make the two drivers go side by side through it. So one of them has to give up.
Yeah, one of them has to take the easy way out, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, either he goes straight on or just brakes a lot more and lets the others through, because this track basically, in terms of overtaking and such, it requires a lot of trust between the drivers. Even at the Grand Hotel hairpin, you kind of need to know the other driver is going to let you like maintain position if you really go for it.
Yeah, there has to be space given around this track. There isn't much to give away, in all honesty, with how close the barriers are. Of course, no runoff area apart from the Nouvelle Chicane, really, and Saint-Devote. But I mean, if you're going off into the runoff area at Saint-Devote, you're not coming back, I'm afraid, unless you're reversing out. But yeah, you've got to, if there's any sort of overtakes to be made, you've got to give the other driver room, because otherwise it's just going to end in it's going to end in carnage. But as I said, there's not really much to give away. But it's going to, if there are any moves having to be made, they're going to have to be very conservative and pretty cautious ones, to be honest.
Yeah, but as it said, I mean, when there's something bad, there's also something good about it.
Exactly.
Obviously, overtakes is a bit of a rarity on this track, but of course, drivers won't be happy enough about this, but tailwear at least isn't that bad. Despite we having the softer compound, we don't see like 3 stops like we saw in Catalunya and Abu Dhabi. I mean, it's easy to do a 2-stop around this track, and I even think there will be some people trying a 1-stop because it's a very short track. I mean, it's just over 2 miles.
Yeah.
So it's a very short track. It demands a lot of your psychological part, but in terms of tire wear, physical tire wear, it's not that hard because obviously you can demolish your tires on braking zones. It's very easy because it's very easy to lock up to turn 1, turn 10, to Mirabeau.
Yeah.
It's very easy to lock up there. But apart from that, it's not overly demanding because you already need a downforce setup. So your rear tires won't suffer too much unless you're just a complete, excuse the expression, dickhead to your rear tires. But
I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest.
But yeah, apart from that, it's gentle on the tires, let's say. So
yeah,
we could do some. We could do with some different strategy from each driver. Obviously, Callum tried one at Catalunya by starting on prime, so maybe we will see that happening before. Not before again, but yeah. Nevertheless, it's a track which we won't hype it like Suzuka because it's not that kind of hype, but at the same time, you can't really miss it because it's Monaco.
That's literally, I was about to say, you can't miss it just because it's Monaco. There's nothing. I mean, you know, the race might be good, but it's Monaco. Like, how will you allow yourself to miss a race around Monaco in any sort of formula, any race, any year? Like, you have to watch the race around Monaco. It's just one of those tracks. It's like Belgium. Yeah, just quickly before we finish on the track analysis, I guess the drivers will be happy, not necessarily happy about the potential of crashes and safety cars, happy about the challenge, but they'll also be happy about the tyre wear because coming off the back of the last 4 races that we've had, Catalunya especially, Suzuka especially, Britain especially, that have all very, very high tyre wear and have obviously the hardest compound of tyres available. To go into a race with the softest compound available, so a lot of pace, and the tyre wear to not be too aggressive whatsoever, really, I'm sure they'll be relishing that opportunity before that all ends and they go to Malaysia after that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, it's an important phase where it's I do believe the penultimate time they go on the super soft. No, they have Korea and Singapore after that before.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the. It's not a very used track, obviously, but they can use it here. And also the softs that they will be using for the first time since Abu Dhabi. So it's. I don't say it will feel a lot different, but obviously it makes a change for those who really like feel how the car behaves and the tires behave. So. Very complicated stuff that we do not know anything about, but yeah, that's you can just don't miss it. If you can watch it, just it will be worth it. Not maybe because of the overtaking that there will be, but I think the action will be there. Obviously, I'm expecting at least one safety car because. It's Monaco. It won't be Monaco if there isn't a safety car.
It's not. Is it really a Monaco race without a safety car? We had one at the start of the race, for crying out loud, in real life. So I mean, but hey.
But yeah, that's the track analysis from the Monaco Street Circuit. Now it's time for the facts of the Monaco Grand Prix. I shall start, if Niran allows me.
Yeah, go on then. Whatever. Fine.
So for the first fact. For only 2 times, a winner of the Monaco Grand Prix went on to win the championship at the end in season 9 and 10. And I do believe there was 2 times where the champion didn't actually start the race at Monaco. Is this a good sign or not?
It's Well, I mean, I can understand why that is the case, because not necessarily the most consistent driver across the season wins in Monaco. It's one of those tracks where you just, whoever you are, you win because you've got a good feeling around a track and you just manage to hook it together, not because you're the leader of the championship. So I can understand why that is the case, but yeah, I don't know. I think we could get an upset just purely because it's Monaco. So for the two Williams boys, that could be quite an omen, but probably something they were expecting anyway, just because the track is so challenging.
The scenes when we see the two Williams finishing on the low top 10.
See, we say this every time, and then they go and win. So I mean,
it's Monaco. We have to have hope this time.
Yeah, to be fair, if it's not going to happen here, then it's not going to happen anywhere, is it, realistically? So,
yeah.
Hey, what can you do? Anyway, the second fact then of today, out of 5 possible, because Season 9 was forced to be in clear conditions, there was 3 races affected by rain with no qualifying sessions having the inters or wets used. So, of course, all the 3 sessions that we've had weather in, none of them have been in qualifying. Season 9 being forced to be in clear conditions, I don't know whether that's what to...
F1 2014.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. To avoid incidents, I'm assuming?
No, because of the wheel pads difference.
Oh, of course. Oh, God, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Jesus. That's opened up a whole new can of worms. But yeah, I suppose that does make sense, actually. But that is 3 races out of 5 having wet weather races or races affected by rain. Do you think we could realistically get that again this time?
Well, just imagine the scenes when it actually is.
When it goes from dry tyres to full wets in about a lap and a half. Oh, God.
I mean, it will be... The race alone will be complete chaos. If there's rain, we could see Philip winning.
Oh, I mean...
you just don't know.
Anything could happen. If it rains, and honestly anything could happen. The safety car could win. I mean... Oh man, in a way you don't want to even think about it, because just how disgraceful it could be. But if that were to happen, then I mean, well, even more reasons not to miss it, I guess.
Yeah, and going to the next fact, number 3, we often see a lot of drivers getting 2 wins or 3 wins at a track, but this one is different. Iceman is the only driver to have 2 pole positions at Monaco in season 8 and 10, and if we count season 9.5, there are 3.
So he loved this track. In terms of qualifying, is he? Yeah, so he's the only person to have done that. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, if only he was racing this time, then we'd have an easy prediction, wouldn't we? We'd just say him for pole. It would be fine. But no, it's a lot more challenging than that, I guess.
And obviously, it's a track where qualifying is. Even
vital,
more important
paramount.
than the race.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's curiously Iceman only won in season 10, but
okay, interesting.
Nevertheless, I mean, it's a very important track to have pole position on. So I would probably go to the predictions and say the pole sitter will win. Pretty sure.
Yeah. I swear, honestly, if we do that and we don't get the prediction right again, I don't even know what I'm going to do. But anyway, of course, yeah, qualifying. If you have a bad qualifying like this weekend, then I don't rate your chances, in all honesty. But nevertheless, fact number 4, the biggest gap from first to second at the checkered flag was recorded in season 5. Now get ready for this. The gap was a massive 1 minute, 1 second, and then a further 3/10, which are completely irrelevant given the rest of the gap, in what was the longest race at the Monaco Street Circuit with a duration of 53 minutes and 43 seconds. Now, that's long because obviously we have only done 50% races in this league's history. I'm going to assume.
Yeah.
Like, that is verging on 100% distance around some tracks. I mean, you probably only raced for about an hour and 15 around Monza, 100%.
Yeah.
So 53 minutes for a 50% race. It would have been almost 2 hours in real life. I think if that had happened in real life, that probably would have gone down to a timer, wouldn't it? I mean, it's
it will
ridiculous.
Be close to it.
Yeah, I mean, and a minute as well. Have you has that ever been close to happening before? Like apart from that race.
I mean, season 6, the race duration was 53 minutes 43 seconds .0.
Oh my word! What? That's madness. I mean,
both races were on 2012 cars and on wet conditions at some point. So.
Oh, okay. That's a bit more excusable then, but still, madness, absolute madness.
Nevertheless, going to fact number 5, Williams and Sauber share the biggest number of wins at the Principality with 2 each. Now, we have both teams running. I kind of doubt Sauber will make a third one. Williams, I just hope not, but we gotta say it's a realistic possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could. I mean, let's be honest. They could easily get the hat trick. I mean, there's nothing saying that they will guaranteed, but given both of their drivers are fighting for the championship, it would be. I think that would be the safest bet out of both Williams and Sauber, certainly, to score the third of the hat trick.
Indeed.
But anyway, fact number 6, there was only one time where the podium didn't have 2 British drivers on it. In season 9, as only one took part in the race, and this is so different to the usual stats that we have. 11 British drivers out of 12, or 17 British drivers raced out of 16, but this time only one taking part, and I suppose the rest of the fact does go along with the usual theme, but yeah, I mean, we could quite easily see 2 British drivers on the podium again this time.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, that it isn't actually on this fact, but while I was doing my research, usually, I think around season 5 was the exception, and obviously season 9. Every time there was 2 British on the podium, it was first and third.
Oh, that's weird.
There was literally a foreign driver in second, always.
Wow. I wonder if that'll happen this time. If that happens this time, then I'm calling hacks, or something, or magic, Zulu magic, I don't know.
We had 2 Germans in second, we had a Spanish in second, we had a Portuguese in second. It's just...
madness.
British don't like... second place at Monaco.
They don't like second place. They don't like coming second at Monaco. Who knew? See the AOR Talkshow unearthing things. I don't really know what those things are, but on a weekly basis. There we go.
Wow. But going for fact number 7, Red Bull and Caterham are the only teams yet to achieve a podium at Monaco, with all the other teams present in 2013 having at least one already.
I reckon that could easily change as well,
yeah.
To be honest. I'm not going to lie, both Red Bull and Caterham look solid at the moment. Caterham, if Vettel comes, which, I mean, he did, at least, for Spain, he then disconnected, but at least, the effort was there. Both Vettel and Jamie could easily get a podium. Dan could easily get a podium. The way Monaco is, Professional could easily get a podium if things really just completely... well, not completely, because obviously he did well in Spain, but I mean, if there's a big upset, then obviously he could finish on the podium as well. So I would actually expect that to one of those teams to get a podium, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but then again, we also have the Williams and the Ferrari contenders.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could mess up the thing.
If all 8 drivers are there from all 4 of those teams, then it's going to be a mad race, like a mad battle for the podium, definitely.
Yeah, if we have all 14 drivers, it will be insane.
Oh dear, mother of God, that would be good, because I think on the whole, the majority of drivers that aren't that consistent when it comes to attendance are not in the league anymore, apart from maybe Brown. So I mean, yeah, we could easily get certainly 12. Certainly, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, next fact then. Season 8 and Season 10 had both had the biggest amount of retirements / disconnections in a race around Monaco with 5. And that meant that there were 8 finishers in Season 8 and 11 finishers in Season 10. We just had, obviously in Spain, 4 retirements. So, I mean, the way things are going, that record could get broken as well.
And they're going to turn 1. Oh, there's 2 cars coming out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's the end of the race. Instant safety car, instant red flag.
They see the checkered flag at lap 2.
Yeah,
Great.
You know what? That'd be solid. If one of them's Philip, then I'm taking it. But yeah, that would be madness. It's just, a lot of these records could get broken. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of them.
Some they better not be, but you just can't.
From a
predict
Ferrari
it.
perspective.
Yeah, but yeah. Speaking of Ferrari, fact number 9.
Hey.
And Ferrari is the strongest team in the qualifying sessions, with no car starting lower than 7th anytime, and getting 2 front rows more than everyone else. So Ferrari is the only team to have 2 front rows. None of them was a pole position though.
Oh, god damn it!
But yeah, 2 second places. That's more than any team ever done.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if either of the Ferraris finished below 7th in qualifying as well. And I don't know, maybe one of them getting on the front row could well happen, depending on the pace of both of them around Monaco. It very much depends, but I'd be very surprised if neither of them were higher than 7th, to be honest, the way the form is going.
Yeah, I mean, it will depend on how the wheel uses it, realistically.
Yeah.
Because obviously Monaco is a very sharp track in terms of corners, so the wheel users obviously have an advantage, but then again, you can't make mistakes. And qualifying is so easy to just screw up the lap a little bit or cut slightly a corner. So it will be very interesting to see. I don't know what will be more interesting, the qualifying or the race. I really don't know.
Yeah, I think the pressure is so high as well in qualifying. You might see quite a few mistakes just because people know going into it, okay, I have to do well in this qualifying session, otherwise the race is not going to go well for me. But I think both of them will be very, very interesting, definitely.
Agreed.
Anyway, then, final fact of this week's segment is that Season 6 was the only time where only the top 3 finished on the leading lap, with 4th to 10th finishing 1 lap down, 11th was 2 laps down, and 12th place was 3 laps down. It's a war of attrition, folks, is Monaco, and I think that has proved it. Was that the season where we had a gap of at least a minute, or one of the seasons?
No.
Was it not?
Nope.
Wow. I mean, that makes it even more incredible in that case. I mean, three people on the leading lap is quite astonishing. I would hope that we get more than 3 people finishing on the leading lap this time, although that fact would suggest that race was very much mental. So, you know, either or, but ideally you'd like to see at least like sort of 6 or 7 people staying on the leading lap just so you've got some battles going on. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Well,
that would be mental.
Like 4th to 10th, they could all be fighting at the same point on the track.
That's true, actually. That is very true. As long as we just get some battling, that's all. You can be 7 laps down if you want, but if you're battling with someone else, then it's fine.
Yeah, or are you trying to unlap yourself? Go ahead. Just
that's
crazy.
also fine. Go mental. As long as you're providing some action, it's absolutely
just don't crash.
Preferably, unless you're going to bring out a safety car.
Yeah.
Do it with some meaning if you're going to crash.
Yeah, but do it smoothly, or else you'll get banned.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's another thing as well. Make it look like it's an accident. Yeah.
we're terrible people.
We are, but it's all in the name of action. We're doing this for the people that watch. God damn it! So it's fine. We're not doing it for selfish needs.
We're not commentators. We're entertainers.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, that brings the facts to an end, and now it's time for our very wrong predictions. And well, I said the facts, so Niran, I'll let you start with the predictions.
Right, I'm gonna go in, and I'm just gonna do this mad quickly.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, that's the correct reaction. That's the correct reaction for what I have in my head. That is the exact correct reaction. Right. Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready.
No.
Right. Okay.
Probably not.
Okay. Well, whatever the circumstance, I'm just gonna get straight into it. Pole position. I am gonna say pole and to win the same person.
Okay.
Which I actually don't think will happen, but just for the safe option. Dan pole, Dan win.
Oh.
Come at me.
Okay.
I mean,
well, Dan will come at you.
I really. Dan, please do the business. I really want 2 points in this championship. And I'm gonna say in second place is gonna be Shane, and in third place is gonna be Jamie.
So no Callum on the podium. Are you sure?
I'm sure. That's my final answer. Callum, I'm really sorry if you're watching. If it's any consolation, I think you'll come forward.
Poor Ferrari bastards then.
Oh man, I to be honest, I don't even know. I didn't even factor Ferrari in, but I don't know. Joint fourth or something. I don't know.
All finish within the same 1,000 at the finishing line.
Yeah, exactly. Just give them both the same amount of points.
Just go at 2 miles an hour to make sure.
Yeah, exactly. Boom.
I don't think I can be as extreme as that.
Well, I think it's very difficult to be as extreme as that.
I could predict like Philip to win ahead of Lee and rear jams, but
I mean, if you want, that's fine.
No. I think I'll go back on it. But pole position. You know what? I'm not going for the same winner as pole position.
Now that is bold.
I'm going for a pole. I need to pick a wheel user for pole position. Let's see. Let's put Callum in pole position.
Okay.
And Ascrit Jamie for win.
Okay, that's intriguing.
Callum second.
Mhm.
And then third.
And then who third?
Dan.
Okay. Interesting indeed. So we've all gone for all British podiums.
Yeah, sadly.
Oh dear. Wow.
If it serves as a consolation, I'll put any driver non-British on fourth place.
You can't use this excuse. I used this excuse already. Oh man, I mean,
damn it.
I think what we've done is prove exactly how unpredictable this race is actually going to be. But I mean, oh man, I just want another point. If I can get 2 points in a row, then I'm happy. Someone do the business for me, please. Someone, anyone.
I love how my desktop is right now a rainy image. So Monaco, I don't know.
It's a sign.
It
is a sign. Guaranteed. It's gonna rain. Take your rain jackets with you. It's gonna rain. And yeah, at least now we've predicted the weather as well. So I mean,
do you want to predict the weather now?
No, we already have. We've already said it's going to rain. It's going to rain at some stage. You heard it here first. Because of Pepper's desktop.
It's going to rain from lap 4 to lap 20. Then it will be dry again.
Honestly, if that happens, oh my goodness. But,
I'll just play the lottery.
Yeah, definitely, and you'll probably win it. But we'll have to see. Wait and see for today. This week, it's on Sunday. For James's stream as to whether it will rain and who will win and whether Pepper will win the lottery. and yeah, I guess that's about it for today's talk show, I guess.
Yeah, I do believe that is all. We might have a couple of things to talk about, but it won't be today. There might be different time, different day, and maybe a different circumstance, but we'll let you off that for now. That is really it for today's talk show. 11th episode of the series. We're going well on this, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it and staying another 40-50 minutes watching us just ramble about races that just on a box with a controller. But
was it worth it?
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed, and obviously let us know your predictions, if they're as broken as ours or just slightly better. But yeah, don't forget to go check, at least if you're not subscribing, at least check Niran's channel. I think it's worth a go, and obviously check mine as well. James, of course, Sunday 8 PM for the race, and we might have the press conference as well going at 7. once Niran decides who will be there. But that's all from me.
And I guess that's all from me as well. You've basically covered everything. You've done my job in terms of the outro at the end. But yeah, as always, yeah, don't forget to check out Pepper's channel. You can check mine out as well, and obviously make sure that you subscribe to James or AOR James to make sure that you see the race and the live stream as it's happening this Sunday at 8 PM. But yeah, that is about it from both of us. We'll see you next week for episode number 12 of the AOR Talkshow. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to hit the likes button, all that good stuff, and we will see you next time. Peace.